Okay. Yeah, feel free to go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, well, my name is Nader Azar. I'm from Syria. I live in Sweden, in Stockholm. I'm 34 years old. I studied English literature in Syria, and I'm working now in Sweden in state authority with like service for authorities. It's like I can say it's like a public service for authorities. I'm a member of the Syrian Communist Party political bureau since 2017, April. Well, the party, we can say that it's grounded in 19. Let me just check if it is 28. I think it's to 20. No, to yes, 28. No, I'm sorry, 24. We joined the Communist International 28.
Okay.
Yes, so it was like one party in Syria, and it was like we can say Stalinist in the beginning, or Leninist, Stalinist in the beginning, and then it continued like that, and it was like only one person who was like the leader of the party. It's like they copied like Stalin, and it was the Syrian Stalin in. So our party has not any like political agenda at that time. Nothing was clear. Everything came from the Soviet. They like approved everything before we like announced anything. So it was like we have been a part of the Russian Communist Party, not the Syrian Communist Party. And the first like, or we can say big problem we faced with the Syrians and with the Arabs is like when Israel has been like, they get like approved as a state, and it was like the Soviet Union was the first state to approve that in the UN. And the first big problem, it was when the Syrian Communist Party did not condemn that. So it was like the party get many attacks from the people, like, what are you doing? It's like occupation, and you don't say anything about that only because the Russian Communist Party is okay for them, and Stalin thought that the Israel is like a progressive force in the region. Yes, so, and then it was like more than problem within the party, and it continued like until 70, when Hafez al-Assad did his coup. I think it's the right word in English right now, the military coup. So it was like unsure, and they try the new regime to take as many parties as possible to their side to build like a national progressive front, and it was like just they were like dolls. They didn't do anything, just to accept everything and like upload every time the leader spoke. So in 72, our party split into two parties. So one, we were like, our party were in like opposition, and we were for, and we like was the first communist party in the Arab world to have like democracy as a goal as well, in one of our goals. And while all the parties in the Arab world, left parties and communist party, they had like it was like revolutionary democracy, or like populist democracy. So it's like yeah, North Korea and the Soviet and like that. And we have another vision. We would like to have like a real democracy, like a democracy that the people can vote, and that there is different political parties, and they can like one of them, if they rule, then it's okay if they lose the next election and like that. So yeah, so in 72 we became two parties. It's like our leaders at that time, they were against like Khalid Bakdash, who was the ruler of our party, and he's like the most famous communist leader in the Arab world. So we were against him, and it was like I think 3 or 4 main like topics that we were against, and one of them was the Palestinian question. So just let me check to be like precise. Then I think was the something with yeah, agricultural questions, and then the Arab national question, and then it's like how to make Marxism more like merged, or more like yeah, it's hard to find the word, but it's like more like merged in society and with what people want, and not against that, because the most communists, they were like anti-religion, and we have the people in our country, they are very religious for too many reasons. But it's like we cannot move forward if we are just against the people, and we see them as like naive, and they don't understand, we know better. It's like, so yeah, after 72 maybe I think it emerged more problems in the Communist Party, not our party. So we called, it's like political bureau, and because it was like the majority of the political bureau voted for it's like yes for some like election in the party, something like that, to like condemn what the leader is doing, and to like make we need like a political program. We don't need the Soviet to like get involved and approve everything, and like indulge themselves in our country, and like politics and what we do and want. Yeah. Yeah, and like then after, we say maybe in the middle of 18th, then the mother party, can we say, they like they faced more split. So then they became like 3 parties. It's like one of them was like with the perestroika in the Soviet Union, and the other was against. And then another party who was like like Labour Party, the communist in Syria, and they are in the opposition with us now. They were like Marxist study circles, and then they made like a party, and it's what we call them like the New Left in Syria. Yeah, and now we are like 5 parties in Syria. It's like 5 communist parties, and everyone says that we are the real one, but yeah. So that's the situation right now. Yeah, yes, I hope I was clear in that like yeah, historical timeline.
Yeah, no, very clear, and thank you so
Yeah.
much. I'm curious if you can talk a little bit more about the 1973 split from the original main, like the grouping of the Syrian Communist Party, and why the political bureau split away, and the reasons of Arab nationalism and pan-Arabism that played a role in that, as well as you mentioned, dissenting from the government's policy in the intervention in Lebanon, for example. And then, so that split, and then from my understanding, there's another split in 2005 against the Syrian Democratic Party because of the decision to support the American intervention in Iraq. So you talk a little bit more about these splits and how the party is, from my view, in seeing these two being very committed to anti-imperialism and not supporting the U.S. intervention or intervention in Lebanon.
Yes, yes. Yeah, well, the first split, it was like, we can say that it was the mother party who made that split. So they announced, like, Khalid Bagdash was the leader for them. He announced, it was like a statement with points that, yeah, it's like they leave the party and we became called that political bureau. So they made the split in the beginning because they could not like bear with that. Like, how dare you? It's like, I'm the leader and I have my supporters. It's like in the like main office or near him, but how can you like criticize us and do like that? And then, as I said, it was more focus about like how to make our party more involved in like real politics, more with people's problems, what they feel, what they want, and not like against them every time and just get everything from the Soviet. So it was like very big like dissatisfaction in the party. They were like, that's not communism. That's not how we see Marxism. And we had like more focus on democracy and focus on like Arabic nationalism. Like, that's what the people want in our country, in Lebanon, in Morocco, in Gulf countries, in Egypt. Everyone, like, if you talk with any, the most majorities, they have that dream. It's like we speak the same language, we have them too many in common, like culture, history, too many things. So many of them feel like it's like we can build the union. So that's why we had like more focus on that, on the like national question, more than is that just the class question. It was, we have not been there. We need to accomplish like democracy. We need to develop the country, develop the economy, develop the society, and then we can speak about class struggle and like that. But you cannot speak about that while you have like most of the people are working in agriculture. We don't have any like or too few help me industry. Yeah, so that was the focus. So in real, they made a split within the party and they left. So but we have had like majority of the party members at that time and the majority of the political bureau. But then later, because the new regime, they made like they put too many of us in jail. So, and then when like a member of that party, the mother party, they could get too many benefits like jobs and whatever in the state, too many corruption. So we became few and they became like more and bigger. Yes, so that was like the situation at that time, 72 until like 90 or year 2000. And then when Hafez al-Assad died, then Bashar al-Assad became the president. They changed the constitution in like 5 minutes. It was the minimum age to be a president in Syria. It was 40 years old, but after that they made it to 34. In my age, I can say. And then he became the president of Syria. Yeah, but that's another thing. So in the beginning, it became like too many parties. They feel like now, like he's educated in the UK, he's like a doctor. He lived in Europe. He has like better like a view of democracy. He will make the country better. It will be a little bit more free of speech and like that. And then it started like too many parts became more active, and it was too many like meetings and circles and like that. And then the regime saw that that's danger, and we need to put them like, we have to stop this. So in 2005, yeah, at the same year, or we can go back to 2003. It was like a very important time when US invaded Iraq. So in Syria, the regime, they were very like scary that the US now are coming to Syria. And so it was like a problem with Lebanon, with Rafik Hariri, who has been assassinated by, yeah, all knows like that it's Syria. Everybody knows. So they killed him, I think 2004. And then in 2005, it became like Damascus Spring. It was like many political parties in Syria. They began to like be more active. And then our leader, or like, yeah, I don't know what to call him in English. It's like a special post. Yeah, but he, I think he traveled to the US or to Canada, but some people say that he traveled to the US and he met like officials in the US, and he get like, you can say, feeling that the US are coming. They will come to Syria, they will throw up the regime, Syria regime, and we have to like adapt us to a new ideology. We need to get rid of Marxism. We need to change the name of the party. And it's like we have to be ready to get like the new change that the US will come with. So they wanted to change the ideology from Marxism to a party without ideology. A party without ideology, with like a focus on, we can say, maybe more social democracy and liberalisms, like kind of mix without any clear ideological, without any clear ideology, we can say. And then they change the name of the party to the like People Party of Syria. That was the two. I think there is one more reason. Just let me check to be 100% sure. Yes, and if we can take like, how can we say? It's like take help of the US to get rid of dictatorship, and our section was like against that we don't want any interruption from another countries. We don't want that. We don't want anyone to do that by force, or like they did in Iraq. And they, since 2003 until now, and we see the Iraq, like clear democracy. Iran, who rules there, it's like totally corrupt country now. Too many like, yeah, that's another thing. But like we see, those who like hoped that the US would do the reality better, so we were against that. So that was one of the main reasons that it was like split, that we are against any other interruption or any yeah. So I forget the right word. Is better word in
like
English.
intervention.
Intervention.
Mhm.
Thank you. Yes. So we were against that, and for them they said it's no problem. Our focus is to get rid of dictatorship. It doesn't matter in any way. We just want to get rid of him. So that was like the main difference. And the ideological one with Marxism or not Marxism, we say no, we are Marxist, and like there is no party without any like ideology. It's you cannot like be like in the sky without anything that is like you change from now and tomorrow. It's like it doesn't work like that. And if you are like modern, and if you, it's not like to get rid of ideology. It's two different things. But yeah, it's another question. Yeah, and then since then we became like two different parties. They continued, and then until 2011 we associated us, or we started like yeah, let me check the name in English, like a national and
The National Coordination Committee.
yes, thank you.
Mhm.
National Coordination Committee, and then they made the another one. Yeah, you know the name. So it's like we became like two different parties since then, and we're still working now with the NCB, and we believe until now, since like 2015 when the UN resolution came, so we like support that one too. It's like it says like step by step how the solution in Syria would be. So we are supporting that one without any intervention in Syria. But it's like we can say it's too late, because now the Syrian question is like between Russia and the US. So when they say it's like that's enough, we want to make like a settlement in Syria, then we can do. But we are not there now. So it's like a fact. We cannot do anything about that. But we think like the first step to do before or like after the change in Syria is that to try as much as we can to get rid of all foreign intervention in Syria, because after that we know that the like US embassy, the Russian embassy, the like Iran embassy, they will, it's like the decision would come from them, everything what would happen in Syria, Turkey as well. Yes, so that's our vision, or like part of it.
So just to clarify and make sure
Yes.
I'm understanding it correct, the position from the 2011 crisis in Syria is basically to call as the first immediate position of the party for all foreign intervention to be ended. So American, Russian, Turkish as well.
Sorry, one more time.
So the main position, like the main number one approach or demand of the party at the moment, is to withdraw all foreign intervention in Syria and to resolve the problem domestically, basically.
Yeah, it's like one of the goals that we have. I think we translated that to English. It's like we have like tasks. So one of them is like to work on uniting that the Marxist and the communist in one party, and like here to work on political settlement based on the Geneva Declaration one and the UN Resolution 2254, and to focus on national, democratic, socio-economic, and modernization missions and alliance with others on this basis, and so on. Yes.
Great. And so with that, I was reading a little bit more about the National Coordination Committee, and its position basically seemed to be similarly like solve the situation domestically, and it didn't seem to promote a armed opposition to the government. So its main position was to say, no open armed rebellion against the government.
Yes, of course.
Mhm. And I'm curious about how, so you talk a lot about foreign intervention and the impact that it's had on Syria. And I wonder how the party's been following the recent escalation uh of clear kind of ongoing violence or tension between Russia and the United States with the Ukraine situation, because obviously this has some effects for Syria as well, with, as you're identifying it, Russia and the US basically playing a proxy conflict in Syria. So how has this kind of changed things? What's the new situation, and how has it changed the situation in Syria at all with the Ukraine war going on now?
Mm. Well, in the party, we have not made like any clear.
Hmm.
We are of course like against the Russian intervention, but we want. It's like we talked a lot about that in the party. Like we don't want to come now with out with anything. It's better to wait for the like what would happen, but it's like it's natural that we are against the Russian intervention and against like Putin, who is the like dictator, but at the same time that does not mean we have to support Ukraine. It's like everything they do. It's like we try to focus like more on like okay, that's wrong. That's not our war. That's too many civilians are like being killed. It's like more that between the U.S. and Russia and European Union and the gas and uh, petrol and like that. But it's like we try not to be a part of this war. It's like we are like if we are against Russia, that does not mean that we are with Ukraine because we are like we are like we have criticized like even the leader of Ukraine who supported one time the Israeli war on Gaza, who said like it's like they are defending themselves and something like that. So uh, it's like we don't want to be with a part because they are against the other part. So is that? But it's like natural if like anyone who reads our political probably will understand that we are against Russian intervention and any other intervention in any country.
Yeah, and with that, the party on the website has talked a lot about the multipolar world, the US as unipolar and having hegemony over the world. So what is the party's theoretical approach? Because I think this is language that a lot of people have began and theoretical background that a lot of people have begun uh, to understand with the Ukraine crisis as well, about the multipolar world, about American hegemony, how American hegemony leads to the crisis in Syria, for example, as well as in Ukraine. So the party's main position, I guess, like what would it be in advocating for this multipolar world?
We see like we tried to make it clear in 2019, and I think we just discussed that would be like 2 days ago that we it was a good vision to see like the future already in 2019, that we wrote that it's still the US is the sole power in the world, like the pole and but there is like how I can say it. Just 1 second. I'm just uh, getting some words. It's like a challenge. Like we
Uh-huh.
see like economical challenge from China and
Mhm.
military challenge from Russia, but we still see that the US will be like the sole power on in the like it's like what we can see now
Mhm.
in the coming years, maybe at least 20 years. At least we see that China is not like ready to take that place. It's like a power, uh, yeah, like facing the US directly, like the Soviet Union and the US at that time. And the same thing for Russia. They have like very fragile economy. They have this like dictatorship. Like they have too many problems. So they have just like the military power and their place in the what was it like in the with the veto. They have the right to veto in the yeah, you know what I mean. So yeah, that's our vision. Like we think that the US will still be the sole power in the like in the coming years, and it's like only like economical challenge from the country and military challenge from another one.
And how does this affect something I would love to talk a little bit, get your perspective more on, which is American support for Israel and how that's been a persistent problem. And from reading, your party is pretty clearly against the oppression of the Palestinians as well as the occupation of the Golan Heights. American hegemony obviously keeps Israel with the ability to have such power in the Middle East and to dominate and to conduct strikes and warfare in Syria as well. So how is challenging American hegemony and imperialism important to also challenge Israeli imperialism in the Middle East?
Mm. Well, what we see like the biggest problem is that our focus is like it's like in the classical uh, like what it usually says, like the left, it's like only the US, the US, the US. It's like all the problem is from the US, but we don't see it like that. It's like it's a big problem, and any other big like hegemonical like countries who controls the world, the economy, it's like everything. But it's we have like another internal problems that it's like with dictatorships. That's the more it's like the biggest problem. We know that the US, they can support it's like dictatorships, but at the same time we have our own. It's like these leaders, or Bashar al-Assad or al-Sisi or any other, or Gaddafi or so that they were one of us as well. It's like they didn't come from yeah. So it's like we focus on the American intervention, but at the same time we need to get rid of these dictators. We have to work for democracy to create a new like society that it would be hard to the US or European Union to intervene in our countries, to destroy it, to make it like coup, like tries to throw up regimes and make like yeah, problems in our country. So we need when the people are like standing behind the leader that they voted for, they need to see as a leader, then our communities will be like stronger, and then we can start talking about to like get rid of American intervention and like that. But as long as we have dictatorships who like think just about their own interest, what they can take like money and put it in like Europe or yeah, in another banks outside our countries. So we won't get forward. It's like it's not enough to talk only about US and US and US. It's like all our problems. No, we have our own as well. So we have to start from ourselves at the same time as we continue to try to to yeah, like other countries won't they wouldn't have the power to do whatever they want in our country.
And with that, does so the party's position on a couple of questions like locally in the Middle East and obviously the US is important, but for example, I'm curious about, so the party's definitely in support of Palestine and liberating Palestine as well as reclaiming the Golan Heights. And as well, I saw uh, on the question of the Kurds as well. Can you explain a little bit more about the party's position on sovereignty and self-determination for the Kurds?
Yeah, well, we see their like question as a question of like all the people in the area, and we see the solution in like democracy, that everyone has the same rights, the same like obligations, and in like society that all are the same, and like all the cultural and like language, all that rights would be like should be one part of the constitution. So we don't see the solution to make our countries like too many more, like to do like the new countries to appear, or like the Kurds would have one and the Muslim Durzi would have one in Suwaida in Syria, or anyone else. So we see the solution in democracy, that everyone has the same rights, and it's like the US and Europe, any other countries with too many like nationalities from all the world with the same rights.
And on that, I think the party has, in reading the program at least a little bit, places some emphasis on national self-determination and creating sort of a three different lines. So a national line, a left-wing Arabist line, and then a Marxist line as well. Can you talk about why it's important to have this unity with other Arab parties and to have kind of as well as other Muslim parties, and have that uh, that self-determination for Arab people out free of influence from other powers is kind of an important aspect of the party's ideology, as well as how it fits in with a Marxist orientation.
Yeah, well, we see that it's very important to have our own Marxism. We don't see like Marxism as uh, like a product we can just import and use in our countries. We see it like it's like an method of analysis, is like method of to come out with like solutions how to make this society better, and how to make the life for the people better, and how to make it like more justice. Um, so we see that we have to make our own Marxism without like we are not Leninist, and we are very we criticize too much like Leninism and the Soviet Union and what they did, and we see it like it's like against what Marx wanted from the beginning, but that's something else. So we focus on like our in like our society. Like I'm not a Muslim, I'm not Arab, but I'm from Syria. But um, it's still like the countries are like 90% is like Arabs, and 90% are Muslims, and like any other Muslim from other countries is like they're everyone, like we know that their dream is like with one like union or something else. Maybe it can be like country, or it can be like the European Union. It's like another type of like they have common laws on too many things and regulations, and like same it's like the euro, and yeah, something like that, that we are seeking like that, like future for the region, and we think that is important, and what the most majority of the people in the Arab world, what they uh, really need, but they don't have the opportunity to like vote. It's like our only hope was like in Tunisia, and now we see what's happening there. They are like trying to kill democracy there. So it's like we think like it will take time, this process, democratization, and get rid of dictators in our countries. So that's why we focus too much about that, on that unity, and to like make Marxism more adapted to our society, to make our own Marxism, not to import it as like a final product that we can use whenever or wherever. Where we said we need to adapt that.
And I'm curious a little bit more about how the party takes a lot of, from reading the program, takes a lot of Marxist ideas and specifically promotes non-sectarianism, for example, non-domination by any particular group, but does emphasize, as you're saying, kind of a democratic expression of all different groups. So having this kind of balance between wanting the majority in Middle Eastern nations of Arab or Muslim populations to have sovereignty, self-expression, and freedom and democracy, but then also preserving, as I think your party put some emphasis on, preserving the rights of national and religious minorities like the Kurds or like Christians and different groups that live within the Middle East.
You mean like how would it work, or
Yeah, so
in practice?
how you fit this in with an idea of a Marxist approach that's focused on achieving something democratic, overthrowing capitalism and imperialism in particular, how this can lead to a more kind of inclusionary position for people who are not part of the majority in these nations.
Yeah, well, we see it like one of our goals is like to achieve is that we have to accomplish, as we understand Marxism and we see Marxism, is like we cannot reach any like socialist or communist era without like, and it like Marx said it in the Communist Manifesto and in like the German ideology and in too many other books, that we cannot accomplish this like socialism without, it's like we have to reach capitalism, and the capitalism would like be it's like, oh, so out of words, 1 second,
Sort of
like
a national democratic,
yeah, it should like
stage,
be evolved like until it
yeah.
should reach like a level that the people said, now we like capitalism is not working now, and we have to make a new like system, and that's what Marx saw like socialism. So that's why we can say that we are not against capitalism now for the time being, because we need to develop our countries. If our countries are not developed, then we can never reach socialism. We cannot reach socialism in like poor country, like what Lenin has tried to do in the US, that they made in the Soviet Union, and in 1991 we saw the result. It collapsed without any, it's like bullet. So it's like it's not working. We cannot make socialism without much like advanced society with capitalist like ground. And as Marx said also, like the whole world would be like it's like developed phase of capitalism before we can talk about socialism, and it will come, it's like from the proletariat. It won't come from a party who say that we know better than you, you don't understand anything. Like Lenin said that it's like the highest thing the workers can think about is like it's like a trade union and something like that. But we don't have that view of people. So we don't see ourselves as like the avant-garde or the elite, and we will like export our like ideas to the people who do not understand. So we see it like it's like worse than capitalism itself. And it's like our vision now to our countries, to the era. It's like we have to democratize the country and the region. We have to like think about more what unite us. So it's like if we look for like Arab Union, we focus at the same time on we want to have like good relations with like Turkey, Iran, Ethiopia, and it's like all the countries in the region is like good relations, more union, no problem. Like it's like more democracy, and then we have to develop the country. We should enter the capitalist era. We cannot go forward without that. We cannot like skip it and move forward to socialism, and then we will face a state like the Soviet, and then it won't work. It's not what Marx has said or thought, and we saw this in practice. So that's why our focus on this question, that we have to enter like a capitalist era.
Yeah, and I'm curious about how as you said, the program emphasizes modernization and democratization, and this view of developing Syria first before trying to build socialism. But at the same time, you do have some emphasis on maintaining state power in areas that can benefit the poor. So this isn't, you're not promoting necessarily a message of a neoliberal approach to capitalism. You're talking predominantly about a developmentalist approach, modernization approach to Syria, as the first step towards inevitably a transition towards socialism. I'm curious with that, what you see as you've talked about adopting the Geneva settlement is the predominant way to solve the crisis. But so from what I was reading, the party is not in favor of necessarily like a violent overthrow of the current government. It's in favor of keeping the government and having a more peaceful transition towards some democratic state in the future, with an emphasis on modernization. And I wonder, with the immediate crisis of imperialism the way it is in the world, how we can see this as a possibility in the future where there will be peace and there won't be the US and Russia fighting over control of Syria, that will allow some kind of transition towards a peaceful democratic situation. Is it necessary to first have this peace, not have imperialism dominating the country, and not, because with that pretty much controlling who's in power, it seems very difficult to call for democracy. And then you have, I think, what you were talking about earlier of having rebels fighting and creating a proxy war and general chaos. So the party's emphasis is first to have, like, as the very first step, self-determination for Syria, and then to kind of work on democratic and modernization features. But the immediate first-hand goal is kind of this anti-imperialism, if I understand correctly.
Yeah. Well, we try to work like on all these lines at the same time. So it's like a kind of balance.
Right.
We cannot like be like anti-imperialist like the whole time. Or I think it was wrong, but I mean, it's like we cannot be anti-imperialist. Like our most focus that we understand that, we know that, but at the same time we have to develop our countries, and we need to go it's like we have to take that like capitalism. It's like an era we should enter before any other step. We cannot skip it. So, and with this, it's like democracy, elections, everything is like in this. And if the whole world is not like developed, socialism is it will be like, it's like a dream only. So we don't see like the world is like will collapse, or the system like will in total collapse, even the like imperialist or the capitalism. We see that it had been like more they could adapt to the new change more than what Marxists thought all the time. In like every crisis, they thought now capitalism is like will fall, and now it's like socialism will start. And then it didn't happen. It's like we have had too many crises since Marx's time until now. And the only thing that happened is like capitalism could like they accomplished in adapt itself to the new change. So sometimes they made like they give and then they take. It's like they have been like could adapt more than what Marxist has thought. Even Marx himself, as like me in personal, I see that he was very positive to the change at his time, and he thought that the socialist revolution is like near. Or but we think that it was like he was very optimist in that point. So that's why we try like to make a balance between all these points, like to get rid of like foreign intervention, at the same time develop our countries, enter the like more capitalist era, democratize the country, and at the same time like give all the minorities the same rights. And so it's like a kind of balance that we want to work on now and in the future.
Right, and at the same time in your program, I think as you wrote, there's kind of emphasis on the state has some role in promoting this modernization. So it's not like what you see in the U.S. or in the rest of the world of neoliberal capitalism, where the state is destroyed. It's more focused on development and modernization, from what I've read as well, in that kind of Marxist approach. I guess I'm interested in what kind of theory the party uses from Marx in particular, kind of if you can talk a little bit more. So you've been talking a little bit about your reading of Marx and like the kind of theory that you're more interested in, not particularly as much in Lenin's reading of Marxism. How, when you like educate newer members, or when members are reading together, reading new texts together and discussing political ideas, what methods do you use for reading Marx together? What texts do you kind of draw on the most to have this importance for your theory? So yeah, I'm curious about the political education that the party promotes in particular.
Yeah. Well, I guess one of the points that made me to like be a member in this party is like their approach. Like this approach I have never seen in any other communist party in the world. They are like, most of them, they say we are like Leninist, even in like Sweden, US, UK, you name it, all countries that. And then the parties who like change their names to the like left party or something else, they left Marxism. So it's like, I think only our party in the world, like we say that we are communist party, but we are not Leninist. And we are very like, we criticize them too much. We focus most on like Marx, and then we like Grigory Lukács, and then like Gramsci, the Italian philosopher. So we have more focus on them, and then Rosa Luxemburg in Germany as well. So like more focus on that, like more European approach to Marxism, like and criticism to Lenin. And in the Arab world also we have like a couple of good writers, but I'm not sure that I don't know if you know them, but it's like Elias Marcos, and we have like they like try to make Marxism more adapted to like to make our own Marxism as we understand Marx. So we don't have it like a religion, like it's a book and we have to follow everything Marx said is like right, anything else is false. We think that is that goes against Marxism itself as like mechanism, like developing every time and trying to find solution on based on like our daily problems and what the people want, not like against them. So we don't want to be like against them. So we face too many problems with that. It's like people come to us, they are either Leninist, Stalinist, or like yeah, it's hard to understand this thought. It's like kind of unique. It's like a kind of unique mix.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I guess
Thank you.
my very last question would be where the party sees the crisis in Syria going in the near future, what the opportunities are for perhaps some resolution of the conflict and perhaps mediating a little bit the conflict, or if the conflict seems to be coming back to a new level of violence with Iran and Israel having still conflict over Syria, and the U.S. and Russia still having conflict. Um, and then, with that to say, like, what are the possibilities for some peace, for some opportunity for this development, because the war has basically preempted all of that. Yeah, I guess that's my last question.
Mm. Yeah, well, it's like the situation in Syria now is like it became like more complicated than before, and like too many countries who are like involved in Syria: Turkey, Gulf countries, Russia, yeah, US, and Iran. So the solution is like, or what we see in the future, it happens like very hard to know. It's like we don't know if the regime would like collapse, like as what happened in the Soviet. No one knows that it will like collapse in like December 91. So it can be like that sudden collapse, and then everyone will like go escape somewhere else or move to Russia or Iran, the regime, or but we don't think that Russia would make that possible, because they have like put a lot of money and weapons and the military bases, so they won't leave that. But now they are like weaker than before because of their intervention and their war on Ukraine. So we see now that the regime and his supporters are weaker, but at the same time we see that Iran, they are maybe soon they will make a new like nuclear agreement with the US. So, and that if like Russia is weaker, Iran is like more powerful, stronger, then the regime would like survive like 5 more years, we can say. So it's really hard to know. So it can take time. Maybe it can collapse suddenly, maybe tomorrow, maybe tonight, or maybe after 5 years. But what we know, that what we are sure about, that they are weaker than ever. So we don't know. No one can expect anything. Like in Syria, it's very it's very hard to make any like expectations. So we try to like be ready, but we don't know what would happen. So we focus on like FN resolution because we see it as the only like possible solution right now.
Well, thank you for taking some time out of your day to speak with me, and that was a great discussion. I learned a lot from your perspective and your party's unique perspective. And I'll continue to be in touch, and solidarity to your organization, and thank you again.
Of course, thank you so much, and my pleasure. And I hope we can keep in touch,
Definitely,
keep in contact. Of course,
for sure.
thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye.
You too. Bye bye.